So I finally got it. The Askar Colour Magic Duo Narrowband 6nm S2 and O3 filter. I will tell you everything I know about it. We will do an unboxing and we will do a first light in this video. Stay tuned. Hey, this is View into Space. I'm Sascha from Switzerland, so grüezi miteinander and thanks for watching my channel. So let's get started. Before we unbox this beauty, I want to tell you everything that I know about it or all the questions that actually came up after my last video about it. So let's start out again with the question, why is this such a special filter? Yes, it is a dual narrowband filter like many others like the Optolong, L Extreme, L Ultimate or like the Antlia ALPT, but all the other filters are O3 and HA. This one is S2 and O3. So that puts them apart. Second question, so if I want S2, why should I not only take a dedicated S2 filter, but this one? And from my point of view, the reason is, why should I only collect S2 if at the same time I can collect more O3? Yes, I already get the O3 from my Duo Narrowband filter, which catches the HA and the O3, but if I can get the double amount of O3 in my overall shooting session, I don't say no. There is no downside, with the exception perhaps that this is a 6nm narrowband filter. If I would now go with a dedicated 3nm S2 filter, it would be better, but it would also be more expensive and I would miss out on the additional O3. So I feel given the price point of this filter, which is around $300, that's a really good value. Next question, is this really the first time such a filter was issued? And no, it isn't. OIII+SII has already done it before, but their version of the S2 and O3 filter was, first of all, even broader than the 6nm. Second of all, it's not really easy to get it, especially in a 2-inch version. Some people even say they stopped producing it. I don't know if that's true or not. And out of whatever reason, this never really made it to the masses. For me, this concept is a no-brainer. But it looks like even I have now to convince you that this makes really sense, even with a one-shot color camera, also to collect the S2. And I think the best way to prove then to you that it really makes sense is when I use it and when I show you now in the first light, but also over time, the results that I get with this method. And here also, that's for me something completely new. So it needs to be proven that this effort and the costs are really worth it. Next question I got asked, does this filter work with very fast telescopes like a RASA? And the answer is yes. Askar tested it and it works fine with as fast as you can go. And the last question or criticism that I encountered is that some people mentioned that Askar is not doing systematic individual quality controls for all filters. And that is actually true. That is also a justified point. But, for example, if you go to Optolong, you have exactly the same issue. And Quiff, the lazy geek, at least in 2 videos, also raised this issue and even proved that also the Optolong filters have these issues and at least some filters of them do not fulfill the specifications as stated. But we also have to be clear that a systematic individual quality control with like the individual spectrometric evaluation put in the package raises the effort, and with that raises the cost of the filter. And I think it would be interesting from you to hear how much more would you be willing to pay if in this package would be a paper with the individual measurement for this filter. Would it be $10, $30, $50? I don't know how much it would cost effectively for Askar, Optolong and so on to do that, but I think it would be interesting also for them to know what it would be worth to you, and then they could perhaps consider that. With that, I think I had this filter long enough in my hands. Let's unbox it. But wait, I cannot unbox it like this. I guess you know this guy here. He has 18.2 million subscribers. So I have to trust him. And what he shows each and every time is that you cannot do an unboxing without a baseball hat and a cutter. So I have both. I still don't have the 18.2 million subscribers, but I think I'm on a successful path now. With that, let's get started. So, first of all, the packaging. It might not be on the Apple level, but it's a little bit rainbow shimmering. There is some design. And you know, from an Astro point of view, I'm already thankful because usually I get my stuff in boxes like this here. This seems to be a thing in astrophotography. It's like, you know, when you can click this, I want to have it in a neutral packaging, that the neighbors don't know that I do astrophotography. I don't know, but at least they put it in something decent. Thank you, Askar. So I don't need the cutter, but I had it ready, but it goes without. And inside I have this plastic box with the filter. On this side it's gold. So let's open it up. And on this side it's silver. So it's nicely packaged. It has a silver frame around. So it's an okay package. Nothing special. I think the only real special filter packaging I received so far was from OIII+SII. That was just a beauty, hard plastic with some magnets. Amazing. But that's also something you pay, right? So in the meantime, I actually built now the filter into my filter wheel, and you can easily now also see my setup. So we have here actually my OIII ALPT, which is the Duo Narrowband Filter for HA and O3. We have here an Optolong L Pro, which is a light pollution filter which I use to make photos of the stars. And then now we have here the new Askar Colour Magic, which will then complete the collection with the O3 and S2. And this will be from now on my standard setup when I shoot nebulas. So I will put this now all together and then I will wait. It's now the 28th of December. The last time I had a clear sky where I could do some shooting was October 17th. So whenever the sky decides to open up and I will for the first time see stars again, I will be ready and I will test the filter and then actually I will release the video. So you will see by when this video finally gets released how long I had to wait until I finally had some clear sky again, and I'm really almost desperate. But I'm also scared because I'm not sure that I know anymore how this telescope is working. So let's wait and see. It's January 2nd, so Happy New Year to all of you. And yes, yesterday night was, at least for about 2 hours, clear sky. And I still remembered how to assemble my telescope, so I was able to do some test shots. Not a very extensive one, but still the things I wanted to do for a first light, for a first impression, I could. And I chose a very easy target, which is the Orion Nebula. And I think it's also a very good example, as the Orion Nebula really emits in all different spectrum. It really made sense also to collect here the S2. So without further ado, I want to show you some things that I discovered. And the first thing I want to show you here is just side by side the OIII ALPT, red HA and bluish the O3. And now here on the right, we have now the Colour Magic S2 and O3 filter. And you see the picture looks completely different. Here everything is bluish, which is the O3, with a little bit of red, which is then the S2. So I think this comparison is very interesting to look at. That's just the stacked pictures without anything done. Now before we go on, what have I actually done? I, as you know, use Astropixel Processor for stacking, and Astropixel Processor has this narrowband option where you can actually divide the picture already into the HA and O3 channels. And when I thought about it, what I would do now with the exposures of the Colour Magic filter, I realized that it should work exactly the same, as it's also red and blue-green. So blue-green the same as with the regular dual narrowband filter for the O3. And then we have the red, which is here not HA but S2. But so what? And so I used also the same functionality for processing or stacking my Colour Magic exposures, and it really worked like a charm. So I think the first thing that might be interesting is these two pictures side by side. We have here the O3 from the Colour Magic filter, and we have here the O3 from the OIII+SII. Now we also have to be fair, the integration time is not completely similar, but if you look at it, it looks really similar. So for example, here the structure, it's exactly the same structure. Also here the shape, it's exactly the same. So we can say, yes, O3 fits. It's really the same thing, the same emissions both filters are capturing. And I think that's quite a good result. So what I then did, I used image integration to integrate these two pictures in one. And just when you attempt that, the thing you might be struggling is that image integration requires at least 3 pictures to do an integration. Obviously, you could also do it with pixel mass. But if you want to use image integration, the trick is you actually add each one of the 2 pictures twice, so that at the end you have 4 pictures in there, and then it integrates without any issues. So next thing we want to look at is how do now the 3 emission pictures look like that we gathered. So let's try it like this. So here we have the HA emission, which is by far the strongest. We have here the O3, and we have up here then the S2. So this is the thing that you would be missing if you're only recording with HOO, with a traditional dual narrowband filter. Now, is this an issue? I don't know, but it's definitely nice to also have this included. But quite honestly, here I do not see any region which would not have also be covered with one of the other 2 emissions. But that obviously might be different with other objects. But I think also here, what the proof is that the whole thing really works, and that we really get the 3 emission pictures like we would get if we would shoot mono with dedicated emission filters. So now I wasn't able yesterday to also shoot the stars, which I do with just the light pollution filters, and then I would actually add, but the clouds were too fast. So from a final picture, what I can show you at the moment is a starless picture, which is also nice. So this is what I made out of it. But I think for me, the main learning out of this first slide, this processing now, is everything works. The filter works as it should, it delivers the emissions as it should, and the workflow to actually break the pictures apart, get the 3 emission pictures and work with them, that all works fine. And from that point, I see no reason why I should not recommend this filter to you.